Hello again, Struck12. Today I'm bringing you not one but two videos about Diablo 4. This one is about itemization and paragons, which is Diablo 4's version of Path of Exile skill tree. It looks cool, it seems cool, it hopefully will be cool. The other video I'm making about this about visual effects, so if you want to see that, it will be uploaded after this video in the same day. So buckle up, I hope you enjoy this quarterly update from me and from Blizzard, and let's go. As I mentioned, it's all about the itemization and the paragons. We will start first with some item related stuff with the wood and skill rank affixes, etc. And then move on to the passive skill tree. So yes, they are announcing stuff like how skill rank affixes works. In Diablo 4, the skill rank affixes returns. As players invest points in skills, they grow in potency, and finding items with plus skill rank or skill level can speed that along. As a bonus, when the player equips an item with plus skill rank for a skill they haven't learned, they will be able to access they will be able to have access to that new ability, even if they haven't learned it, which is pretty cool. It's a great way to try out new skills before you're able to invest in them. Getting a lucky drop that nets you a skill you'd like for your build 10 levels before you would otherwise have access to it is a huge boost. So, unlike some other games where they're limiting it in such a way that you can only get plus X to skill Y levels, only drops after the level where this skill is learned. In this game you could actually get, as they're mentioning, if you're, let's say, level 40 and you need a certain skill that requires level 50, you could get that skill on a level 40 item and still have that skill. They've given this example, swallowing large axe of flaying, that gives plus 4 ranks to flay. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of those things, and I'm really happy that they're returning this. I wonder if there's gonna be a cap on how many plus extra levels you can get after maxing out a skill, and what the max actual level will be, or whether there won't be any limit and just keep pushing as much of the skill level ranks as you go. Now let's talk about legendary and unique items. This is something I really liked back in December 2020 when they first let us know that legendary items in Diablo 4 would work in a different way than in other games, and they could appear in multiple slots because you're after the legendary power, not the legendary item, and one legendary power has multiple places it can roll on. They're giving an example that martial arts, something that enhances the barbarian's kick ability, you may find it on rings, chest plates or helmets. There is no need to hunt for a specific item type any longer. Back then it wasn't really clear, and it seemed as if any type of item would have any type of legendary power, because you're after the legendary power, not the legendary item. That's not entirely the case, but each legendary power will have a few places where it can drop, and it will make you think. I actually like it more that way. It will make you think which power on which slot you want, knowing that it can only go on 3 or 4 or 5 different slots. You would have to make some choices. The real question is, what happens when you find the power on an axe when you really wanted it on a ring? Or you found a great legendary amulet but can't use the power? Well, that is when we get to introduce the new friend, the occultist. The occultist can extract a legendary power from a legendary item, crystallizing it into essence while destroying the item in the process. The essence can then be implanted into another legendary item, overriding the power that was present in the item at that time. Essence materials can also be stored up and used at a later time. Unique items cannot be modified in this way, keeping their fantasies intact, and as their name implies, unique. So the examples here are, you take item A, for example the pent up axe you're seeing on the screen, and you destroy it, but in the process you're extracting the bonus that's the pent up power, and you get the pent up glowing essence. And you can see it still gives you the same thing. Fury skill deals 4% more damage for every second you haven't used a Fury skill, up to 24%, Barbarian only. And now you see that the allowed items that this can be applied to are one-handed weapon, two-handed weapon, the power increased by 66% there. Gloves, amulets, and the power increased by 33% on amulets. I'm assuming power increase means the strength of the essence. That's what I think it means. And then rings can get this for this specific example. So if you take a legendary item that has different power and apply this on it, it will overwrite the whatever legendary power there is there and replace it with pent up. Now there's another example. This amulet, the body choker, a rare amulet before adding an essence. So you can add an essence to an item that is not legendary as well. They don't say that, but they show it. So you can do that too. You can see this body choker gives you overpowered damage while healthy, maximum fury for barbarian only, and fury cost reduction for barbarian only. But after applying an essence, the item becomes a legendary, and it imbued. See, it says imbued, meaning that you've added to a non-legendary item a legendary power. It says Whirlwind periodically pulls nearby enemies to you, which is super amazing, by the way, if you like spin to win builds. And this is amazing. Now, there's gonna be obviously the hunt for items. Sanctuary is a vast world filled with forlorn trails through werewolf-infested forests, withered heat scrolling with cannibals, and fog-choked graveyards scrolling with the restless dead. There's definitely plenty of mobs to kill. I'm not gonna read everything verbatim from the website, but plenty of stuff to kill. If you enjoy collecting certain types of items, you will be somewhat likely to drop those items from monsters that actually wear them. While bandits are fond of maces, crossbows and boots, if you're hunting for a new pair of pants, you'd do well to kill some of the drowned instead. In past discussions, the developers apparently received feedback that it seems deflating for so much of a character's power to be delivered through the gear that is equipped. And customizing and planning a character feels less rewarding if it doesn't play a big role in how the character performs in combat. Apparently, I agree and disagree at the same time with this, because some people don't want to have a super meta build or have to go online and look up into a build to get something that's viable, that's able to do the hardest content. And in games where as long as you have the best level gear for the content you're doing, equal level of the content you're doing, like for example Torchlight 3, it's much more casual friendly. So Diablo doesn't want to be a casual friendly game. It wants to be a hardcore meta min-maxer game where apparently you would really need to look into your passive skill tree, not your items, to get power. I think it's better if the passive skill tree is just extra flavor and it's not a must-have meta build there. We'll see how it is. Hopefully that's not the case. But they're saying that there's gonna be a stronger emphasis on character power that is earned by all the little decisions we make while leveling up and exploring the world of Sanctuary. And they won't be talking about everything they've planned so far, but they are sharing with us a new feature that's ready to be showcased, the Paragon Board. The Paragon Board is something akin to Path of Exile skill tree, or the skill tree of Mad World that I've recently played, or akin to Chaosbane, Warhammer Chaosbane skill tree, and so on. They're not saying how respecking works in this skill tree. I really hope they let me respec freely as I want and experiment without any huge cost, ideally with zero cost. Because grinding to redo mistakes that you've made several hours ago or a few days ago is not fun if you need to grind for a few days just to remove a few skill points. Hopefully they let us respect. But the Paragon Board, they're showing you something like what should I call it? Like a board that can be rotated and That's obviously not the final thing that you would see, but it's much easier to understand it the way it's shown. So they have placed an emphasis on build customization, ensuring that you can have plenty of control over how your hero grows. The Paragon Board unlocks for each class at level 50 and is a distillation of this focus. Your hero begins their journey through the Paragon system at the central starting tile of their class. And the class's intro board. So there's gonna be multiple boards. You start with the intro board. I hope those boards are always fixed. So the intro board is fixed in some way, but if you go up, you unlock a new board that you can obviously rotate, as you can see later. And it's always fixed, but how you rotate it so that when you make builds it would be easier to show others. Mostly it will be fixed. I doubt it won't be, but there's still the chance they might make some randomness there. Hopefully not, because it's gonna be a nightmare if it's so random. So your hero begins their journey through the Paragon system at the central starting tile of their class's intro board, and from there you make selections radiating outward. Once your hero reaches a gate tile, which again there's one in each corner, you choose which new Paragon board you would like to attach to at that location. So you'd have to pick one out of a few choices, which again it might seem stressing and difficult at first, but it's not that difficult. Again, probably those boards would have names, so when you make build videos and when you make build guides, you would tell people, okay, you go north, you hit the gate, then you pick board XYZ, then you pick board CBA, etc. after that, and so on. The desired outcome is a personalized set of bonuses that will empower your hero and honor your dedication to their progression, that will remain fun to tweak and adjust over many playthroughs. There is a lot to take in with those images, so let's walk people through some aspects of what we are looking at here. First of all, there's normal tiles, and that's your regular round orange tiles. And normal tiles are straightforward, providing a small but meaningful stat boost. Normal tiles are consecutive tissues that can be found throughout the board and are quite common. Next, there are magic tiles. Magic tiles are found in clusters throughout the board and provide a potent, more diverse set of benefits. As you might expect, they are less common than normal tiles, but are still plentiful. So an example of a common tile plus 5 strength, example of magic tile plus 10 fire resistance. Now there's also rare tiles. Rare tiles offer significant boost in power. So rare tiles are kind of, here's an example, Hungering Fury, that's actually a named rare tile, and it grants 10 fury per kill, requires 175 strength to get, and 125 power to get, and it also gives you plus 8% increased maximum fury. I'm not sure if this is requirement to invest into the node or this is requirement to give you the increased fury bonus, but that's how it is. So upon entering the Paragon board for the first time, these represent great goals for players to chase, particularly once you've narrowed builds down towards highly specific goals, such as, for example, cooldown reduction or extra fury gain and stuff like that. Fury cost, skill cost reduction, it could be fury, it could be mana, whatever. Or whether you're going for crits and stuff like that, you want those goals, you would chase those rare tiles that give you those goals. Rare tiles also have additional power that unlocks once the hero has raised an attribute to a sufficient level, requiring some choices to be made when plotting your path through the board. So as I suspected, it's not a requirement to equip it, it's a requirement to unlock that extra bonus. So in this case with Hungering Fury you will get the 10 fury per kill, but if you don't meet the requirements you won't get the increased maximum fury bonus until you do. Now there's also legendary tiles. Again, they're also named and they're giving us here this Warbringer that gives that specific special ability. While your fury is above 50%, you deal 30% more damage. After the first Paragon board, each new board has a single legendary tile that can be found at its center. Legendary tiles impart a new legendary power to the character that earns it. And I'm assuming those legendary powers are probably the same ones you can find in items. So if you want a certain legendary power in your build, but it's not gonna work as a gear equipment thing, because you've already set up the build with other types of equipment, but you feel like there could be another legendary power added to the build, I'm assuming those legendary tiles might, just might, I can't confirm it, might grant you some of the legendary powers from the items. If that is the case, that makes things even better when it comes to build diversity and messing around with legendary powers. So glyphs and sockets. Another thing to keep in mind. A socket is a special tile that can contain a glyph. Glyphs are items found throughout Sanctuary that, embedded into a Paragon board, confer various benefits based upon the number of active tiles within their radius. Glyphs can also be leveled up by delving into some particularly dangerous dungeons. Leveling up a glyph extends the radius of their effect, allowing each one to draw power from or impart power to even more active tiles. And they're giving you an example here between level 3, level 8 and level 15 glyph. The level 3 has radius size small, the level 8 has radius size medium, the level 15 radius size large. This magical empower glyph only gives you 30% bonus to all nodes within range, regardless of what they are. Whereas the rare exploit node gives for every 10 dexterity purchased within range. By purchased it means invested into every 10 dexterity from nodes within range. You deal 13.5% increased damage to vulnerable targets. It also grants 40.5% bonus to all nodes within range versus the 30% from the level 3. And the level 15, for every 10 willpower purchased within range, you deal 31.5 increased overpower damage. This is the Conquer node. It grants 4 strength for each willpower purchased within range. So this is a very interesting setup where if you don't want to get strength from certain places, but you need strength maybe to equip items or to unlock certain tiles, like that tile we saw earlier that requires strength and willpower. Here you can invest into willpower and get one of those glyphs, and then based on how much willpower is around that glyph, you would get some extra strength, which is pretty nice. Now there's another thing to talk about: gate tiles and board selection. A single gate tile lies at each edge of the Paragon board. As you progress through the Paragon board, you will eventually reach a gate tile, which, upon unlocking, will allow you to select a new Paragon board to attach to your existing board. Each of these boards has unique tile layouts, new magic and rare tiles, and a new legendary tile at the center. I really hope they give names to those boards. So when making builds, you can say, hey, you want board XYZ, you want board ABC, and so on, in this place, in that place, rotated that way, and so on. You will be able to place the board down, connecting it to the newly unlocked gate tile. You may also optionally rotate that newly placed board and connect it the way you want to. So apparently the devs are hard at work on these and other features that they'll be able to share more about in the future updates, probably in March. I would quickly like to talk about a little bit more about this basic image here we are seeing. As you're seeing, those nodes that have red around them, I'm assuming those are nodes where sockets go, where glyphs go. I'm assuming those are sockets. And if you see this socket here, the red one, I'm assuming this is the range. This is like a visual representation of the range of how one socket could affect multiple nodes. And in here you're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And potentially 9, 10, 11, 12 if there were any in the image. And that's pretty good. That's pretty cool amount of things that could be affected by a glyph into a socket. Obviously, this is just a mock-up kind of thing, easy visual representation, whereas if you look at that image, you would see that's kind of a different, that's kind of like the skill tree. That skill tree looks actually like Path of Exile's passive tree, but that's the active skill tree. So I'm not sure whether some people would prefer it if it looked complicated like Path of Exile, or Vast Epoch, or Chaos Bane, or Mad World, etc. I personally really like this simplified design of the Paragon boards. Instead of having to scroll through multiple screens of skill tree, you just have this one square board, or yeah, you have that one square or rectangle or whatever board, and it's all easy to see. You don't have to scroll through the screen, and it's nice. And then if you want, you flip to the next board and then look at that board. It's much easier. I really like how they're handling it. I've got another video about visual effects, so you might want to see that one as well. If you want to get notified when I upload more content for Diablo 4 or other Wooter and not so Wooter games, such as guides, builds, news, etc., you can subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to get all the notifications. Additionally, keep in mind I've got something on my channel called memberships, which is a monthly payment that can be cancelled at any time. That gives you the ability to use emotes and get special badges that show for how long you've been a member on my channel. And I also offer optional tutorials with the just basics of the Adobe Premiere, Photoshop and After Effects for members. You need to contact me for those though. Thanks again, Struck Club, for watching. Keep it cool until next time, and goodbye.